Alright, so I just got some of these Lipo battery packs in the mail. Let's check this out, see what it looks like. And look at these things. Look at that. This thing is huge. Look at the size of this thing. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but here it is compared to like a regular 5 amp hour high discharge cell. And look, there they are compared to like a regular quadcopter cell. These things are enormous. Each cell is 14.8 volts and 20 amp hours with a constant discharge rate of 12 C, which gives us 240 amps continuous discharge. The peak discharge is 24 C, which means we can get 480 amps out of this thing if we wanted to. That's insane. The idea is that I would take 6 of these things and put them in series to give me a 100-volt battery pack that's capable of very high discharge rates, but still be fairly compact and relatively lightweight. Internally, these battery packs are made up of 4 Lipo cells that are connected in series. The idea is that if I were to connect all of the Lipo packs together in series using their positive and negative discharge cables, this would be the same as if each one of the internal cells were connected in series themselves, making a 24S 20 amp hour battery pack. The case for this battery pack is 3D printed. I designed this to hold the battery pack and the BMS and kinda designed it to be fairly modular in case I ever wanted to swap out the BMS or maybe even take the battery pack out and put it into something else. The battery pack slides into the case like this, and then there are guide rails that hold the bracket where the BMS is placed. The bracket has holes for the discharge wires, temperature sensors, and balance wires. And then this door slides in to hold the bracket in place, so everything is kind of tight. At least that's the idea. Then there's a cover that holds the discharge terminals, and everything fits together like this. So here I'm just fitting together the battery packs. I 3D printed these guides to kind of hold them together while I tape everything together with Kapton tape, so that way I can make sure that everything is flush and square. I also 3D printed this case prototype just to make sure the fit was correct and also to hold the cells while I work on them. And here's the BMS. I'm using the Ant BMS 24S 300 amp model. It comes with 4 temperature sensors, balance wires, and an on-off switch. Here's the wiring diagram for the balance wires. Each one of these balance wires needs to connect to the correct balance lead on each one of the Lipo packs. I made these adapter wires that I could just plug directly into the balance leads on the Lipo packs and just solder the other end to the balance leads on the BMS. It's a little bit tricky the way the balance wires on the Lipo packs are connected. The black wire connects to the negative terminal of the first cell, and all the rest of the wires connect to the positive terminals of all the cells. So the B- wire of the BMS connects to the black wire of the first Lipo pack. Then the next wire on the BMS connects to the next wire of the first Lipo pack. And so on. You have to be careful when you get to the black wires of each of the other Lipo packs. You would think they just connect to the next balance wire, but that's not the case. Once you put the whole pack in series, those black wires have the same voltage as the last balance wire. So you actually have to skip them, and they just go nowhere. And then you just continue the pattern. Just keep connecting balance wires one after the other, skipping all the black wires on the battery packs. There's an extra balance wire coming off the BMS, and that's to power the BMS itself. And that goes to the last balance wire of the last Lipo pack, basically the positive terminal of the battery. Okay, let's put all this together now. The thing with this BMS is that the balance wires are broken up over two connectors, so one of the adapters would be the one connecting both groups of balance wires. Next, we'll take care of the temperature sensors. You have the wires with the connector and the sensors themselves, and you can connect them whichever way. The thing with the temperature sensors is that they're kind of like hard little nodules, and you can't just place them against the cells because there's going to be pressure and they'll be pressing into the cells themselves. So what I figured is that I can offset them on the corners where there's going to be some space. So here I'm attaching the temperature sensors to the cells with heat-resistant automotive tape. And then I just have to tape everything back together. And now it's time to actually connect the cells electrically. So here I'll just be going around the pack, connecting positive to negative, until all I have left are the negative and positive discharge cables. And now the whole pack is actually connected electrically. And now we can connect the balance leads. Here I'm testing that I connected the balance leads correctly with a multimeter. If I did, each lead should increase by the voltage of one cell, so about 3.7 volts. The 3D printed case is made out of PETG and has 4mm thick walls with 100% infill. This took about 48 hours to print. But it makes for a pretty much perfect fit. The one thing I didn't think of is that this BMS sliding bracket piece doesn't really leave any room for the balance wires to slide underneath so that I can get them through the holes that I designed for them. So what I figured is that I can just attach some string to these balance wires and then pass the string underneath and then pull the wires through by the strings. And that worked out better than I expected. Now it's time to actually install the BMS. The BMS comes with charge and discharge cables already pre-soldered to the board, but the way they're oriented isn't really convenient for my setup, so I'm going to remove them, but my soldering iron really wasn't up to the task. Enter Thor's hammer. This thing is huge, and it's the first time that I even got to use it since I ordered it. It actually took a little while to heat this up to full temperature, but once I did, those leads came right off. And now I can connect the new 10 gauge B- and C- leads. I'm also using these copper lugs that I'm crimping onto the ends of the discharge leads. The lugs themselves will connect to terminals that are embedded in the case cover and form the actual positive and negative terminals of the battery. Next, I'm connecting the B- terminal on the BMS to the negative terminal of the battery. I tried using these solder connectors where the solder is already inside the connector and you just heat it up and it's supposed to melt into the wire leads, but I actually found that it wasn't, I don't know, it kind of wasn't melting in that well, and probably wasn't the best choice. I probably should have just soldered the leads together themselves. Once the B- lead is connected, you can connect the balance leads. You shouldn't do it the other way around, because if you connect the balance leads first and then the B- cable, you might get weird readings and it won't work. Next, I'm connecting the on-off switch. This is just a switch that will go to a button in the cover, but for right now, when you short it, it turns the BMS on. And then finally, we can check the voltage coming out of the BMS, which is 90 volts currently. At this point, the app should work as well, so here it is connecting. And this Ant BMS app is pretty good actually, pretty easy to use. It gives you all the metrics. So here we see the voltage, the current, the power, the temperature, and the voltage values of all the cells. So currently we have 3.7 volts for every cell, 90 volts total. That's all good. Then the next page, this gives you a nice little graph of the current, the total voltage, and then the high and low voltages of the cells. Here you can turn the charge and discharge MOSFETs on and off, basically enable or disable charging and discharging. And also there's a manual balance function where you can activate cell balancing manually. And then you get a cool visual of the cells being balanced with the LED lights. But I actually found the balancing function isn't that great. If the cells are really out of balance, this kind of gets them back more or less where they're supposed to be, but not all the way. Now I'm connecting the positive terminal to the BMS using the same solder connectors that I wasn't too happy with. I think if I had a heat gun, it would be better, but I was just trying not to melt the plastic on the outside with this torch. And I think the solder dissolved into the metal. I probably should have just redone it, but I've been using this battery and haven't had any issues, so I guess that's fine. Next, I'll be connecting the terminals. Terminals came with these terminal covers that were too big, I think, so I just glued them together to make a container. So for terminal covers, I designed and 3D printed these little covers that go on the terminals, a little bit more compact, so they just go on like that. Here's the cover itself with holes designed into it for all the components. Here I'm just installing the on-off button. Then I'll install the terminals themselves. Then I'm just using blue Loctite on the screws themselves so they don't vibrate out. Then it's finally time to connect the positive and negative leads of the battery to the outside terminals. One mistake I made here is to use dielectric grease between the terminals. I had this idea because I wanted like a really secure electrical connection where all the gaps are filled with the grease, but dielectric grease actually isn't electrically conductive. That's the problem. It's actually an insulator. What I actually wanted was conductive grease, which is like this black substance that has carbon in it to help conductivity. So later I had to take this apart, clean it off, and actually use the conductive grease. I'm also using blue Loctite here and these washers called Nordlock washers, which are really good for preventing the screws from becoming loose. The last thing I want is those terminals to become loose under the case and then short. And then the last thing I have to do here before closing up the case is connect the on-off switch cable. And then it's finally time to close up the case. And we're done.